Yeah, of course, anyone. We really can't know. We're on the wrong side of them.
As you as you can see here now behind the as you can see here in front of us, we have Michael White, a man synonymous with West Cork Ploughing and All Ireland Ploughing. Michael ploughed here over 63 years ago with this very plough on this very site here on the Coolcower estate. At that time it was a ploughing match organised by the Tomes Winter Farm School, and later on we will be talking to the secretary, the man that was the secretary of that ploughing match. Michael was ploughing senior on that particular day, and he has come back 63 years later to stand behind his plough. Not the same pair of horses, I'm sure. Michael won the senior class on this day, on that day 63 years ago, and I'm led to believe that his prize that day was a spring harrow. So it's next to him in the photograph there to his right we have John Sexton. John is the PRO of Cork Ploughing, West Cork Ploughing. And next to him we have the first secretary of the organising secretary of that ploughing match here today, and that's Michael Kelleher, originally from the outskirts of Macroom, and he's a retired creamery manager, and he flew back specially from London to be here with us on this very special day. As I said, the site was ploughed 63 years ago, and next to Michael we have Michael White's daughter, Mary White, who was an employee of AIB some years ago and was also a member of the Macroom Ploughing Association in the mid-70s. In the background there you can see the main Cork Macroom Road, the N22. You can see the volume of traffic, and Macroom are presently looking for a bypass to take this volume of traffic around the town of Macroom, and hopefully in a few years' time we will see the new bypass and the new road from the Cork to Killarney will be a super highway in the near future, and hopefully that it won't affect the beautiful scenery that's here in the background, forming the backdrop for today's ploughing match in this beautiful Lee Valley with the blue clouds and the green hinterland of Omara and the River Salan and the Lee Valley in this beautiful surrounding here today. Large crowd have come out in their strength to witness this West Cork ploughing match. There's over 63 competitors here today, and there's a massive entry of horses here today. We have 6 competitors, a record attendance, a record entry of competitors. We have in front of us here, we have Tommy Barrett of Kerry. That's Tommy there behind his plough. We also have Teddy Kelleher, again an All-Ireland and European champion. We have our own J.J. Delaney there, and we have 2 competitors from Galway, namely Joe Fahey and Gerard O'Reilly. So a big turnout here today in this West Cork Ploughing Championships organised by Macroom Ploughing Association. Right, standing here next to me we have Michael White. Michael is originally from Lissavard, a former officer of the West Cork Ploughing and also a former director of the MPA. But today he's here for a very special occasion, which he will outline to you in a few moments. So Michael, you are welcome here to this site in Coolcower. So maybe you'd like to outline your unique involvement with this ploughing match some time ago.
Right, thanks very much, Mr. Injun. And myself and a few of my neighbours were interested in ploughing, and when we saw it we were never up on this side of the country before. We were more local in our own area, and down Timoleague and maybe Bandon and them in Skibbereen. But we were never up north anywhere. So when we saw this employment advertised here, we decided we'd come up. So I had a tractor at the time, and we brought the 3 ploughs up here that day. And they were all horsemen that time, of course. And there was a big entry here. I'd say there must have been at least 40. And the committee used to provide horses locally here for people like us that come with no horse. And it was quite a job to get a number of good horses. But anyway, we managed. 2 of us got away with it all right. But the third man got very poor horses. They gave up on him. So he wasn't able to finish his bank at all.
I believe you were ploughing. In what class were you ploughing in that day, and how did you get on, Michael?
I was in the senior class, senior or Munster style, they call it that time. And there was a big number. I couldn't tell you now how many were in the class. But the man that was second to me was George Deneen from Cullabay, Crookstone. And I believe the man died fairly soon after. I know that he frightened him and what.
I would like to add my piece to that George Deneen is a neighbour of mine who's living across the way, across the valley, and as I said, died a very young man and left a very young family after him. So he was second to you today.
He was in that day. And he had 2 lovely black horses. They were a grand match and they were lovely. I was admiring him. I'd love to have a pair like him.
We like to do things in style out around Kilmurray.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But when I believe he ploughed or he played hurling with what do you call him? Clodagh had a great hurling.
That's right.
Go that time, and he was one of them.
Your prize that day maybe just, I know nowadays when competitors compete, they get vouchers or they get perpetual trophies and cash money. Maybe you might like to tell our viewers here what the prizes were in the early 40s.
Well, I think I'm not certain now, but I think it was a spring harrow. It was presented to the committee by Mackenzie's and Cork.
So you had an extra piece of equipment going home in your tractor and trailer that day, along with 3 ploughs. You had a spring harrow on top of that.
No, we hadn't actually. We didn't get it here at all, but we got a voucher to claim it any time. Get it delivered after.
It must bring back great memories for you 63 years later, Michael, to stand behind the plough that you ploughed with in this very site 63 years ago, and I'm sure a very lucky plough because you went on to plough at All Ireland and at numerous levels down through the years in your distinguished career.
I didn't plough so much afterwards because, as I said, I was a young man and I had no money.
Right.
And I had a tractor for hire. So we were ploughing for my neighbours and anyone that asked me.
Right.
And so I had no time for going back for the horses then.
Right.
So I gave it up, I think that year, 1941.
I suppose you reckon that having come to the climax of your career with a win at Macroom under your belt, you couldn't achieve any more.
Well, there was a little of that too, because one of my neighbours that came up here, the fellow that got the bad pair of horses, he was able to beat me then any day he got. Well, he was a whole-time horseman, of course, and I wasn't.
And that man was?
He was Paddy O'Mahony of Lissavard. he was well known after. He ploughed for a good few years after.
Right.
He's passed away now. But I'm left hanging around always. I don't know why.
Well, speaking of Macroom, and we're delighted to see that your daughter Mary, and maybe if Mary just come forward for a minute. Mary was also a member of this great ploughing association in Macroom. So, Mary, you're very welcome back to Macroom again. I know you gave a long time here with us in Macroom. We were very sad to see you go, but we're delighted that you came back today with your father. So, what do you think of Macroom Ploughing Association now, after you maybe leaving? How many years ago?
Oh, it's over 20 years ago. I was secretary here in the 70s. I worked here with the local AIB at the time, and I was joining Macroom Macroom. At that stage, it was mainly the Macroom members ran the ploughing here. And it was a great venture for me to get involved in it, and I suppose I knew all my neighbours were coming up from West Cork to plough. So it was great to be involved in it, and it's a great way of getting to know the locals and getting involved. And I was secretary in 1976 when we ran the county. And we sent the team to Kilkenny that year. And we had an entertaining time looking after the Horgan brothers above and their horses and ploughs. They were left many of the locals up there very surprised at their antics.
However, Mary and Michael, we're delighted that you're here with us today on this lovely spring day on the lands of Coolcour Estate with a super site. Is the site as good as it was 63 years ago, or has it deteriorated, or has it improved?
Oh, I'd say it's just as good.
Yeah.
It's just as good.
So,
I'd like to be ploughing there, but I think I'm gone beyond it now.
well, we're again delighted that you came with us. So, right, I'm delighted to have here with me this evening and able to talk to us for LTV is on my left here we have Michael Kelleher. Michael is now a retired creamery manager, and we're delighted that he has flown back specially from London, and Michael was the secretary of that ploughing match that Michael White mentioned having ploughed in 63 years ago. So Michael, you are welcome to Macroom.
Thank you.
And maybe you might just outline to our viewers how this ploughing match was organised 63 years ago. How did it come about, and how did you get involved, and maybe a little bit of a background to the ploughing match?
Well, there were in 1940 the County Committee of Agriculture decided to have winter agricultural classes in Tomes School, which is near Tomes Church. And the headmaster at the time was Master Burke. He introduced us to the lecturer, who was Mr. Curran, Daniel Curran from Cork. Well, we started with the winter classes as usual, and then Mr. Curran decided after a while that would be a good time to organise a ploughing match in the area. And of course he couldn't find any record of ploughing matches in the area before. And of course my father couldn't remember either, and he would be, a good age. I think he was born in 1863. So,
and we're delighted that she, as a young group of lads, took the initiative at that time, which was probably a plucky step to put your best foot forward, and I'm delighted that it worked out. And again, thank you for coming.
thank you.
There's our number one. Do you want to say a bit? No. Riley from Galway or anything? No? Delighted to have here in my presence here is another famous ploughman, and that's Teddy Keller from Bantier. Teddy, you're very welcome here to Macroom. What do you think of today's... And what do you think of this lovely site that's provided here by Macroom?
Mighty site. Lovely ground to plough.
And is there many stones, or is there any obstacles?
But your stones are the bones of the land.
Some people down in Kerry would say the stones keep the soil warm. Would you agree with that?
I would, Fat. I would.
Maybe just briefly on your own career, I know you have won numerous All-Irelands, I think probably 4, and your name is enshrined in the international stage, having won a number of world championships. So maybe have you any plans to try and make it back to put another national title under your belt maybe in 2004?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know the betters are climbing? Don't that happen to all sportsmen?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the other competitors? A very stiff competition around you?
Good competition here today. The cream of the ploughmen are here.
Absolutely. So we wish you the best of luck, Teddy, and hopefully we'll be seeing more of you. Thank you, Teddy. We're joined here by 2 men from north of the town of Macroom, from the famous Balnagree, and we have Connie Bryan here, who is a famous helper to the Jerry Horrigan, and maybe a few brief words on today's ploughing and also your time with Jerry Horrigan.
Well, I started with Jerry Horrigan and I finished with JJ. I was with Jerry Horrigan until he died, and when Jerry died, JJ took over the plough and I went with JJ then. But there'll be never another Jerry Horrigan.
Never again.
No, never another.
Sorry, I missed your first name again, sorry.
Dan McCaffrey.
Dan, what's your impression of the ploughing here today?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Lovely sight.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the crowd there. Everyone is enjoying it.
Yeah. And the sun shines down.
Oh,
and the ploughing,
boys.
And it's being clouded, drying before them.
Nothing more sure.
But it's great to see a fine crowd anyway.
Okay, delighted to have here with me. We have our own JJ Delaney, all the way from Balnagree. JJ, what's your comments on today's site here?
You're a mighty site. Busy and stony, but a lovely site. Good as you get in County Cork, I think, anyway.
Standard of competition is very keen here, judging by the large number of competitors around you.
Oh, the last letter in the very great, there's great competition here today.
Yeah.
I mean, even tractor and horses, and as you can see yourself when you ask anyone, it is a high standard of ploughing.
Yeah, there's, you won an All-Ireland in
95.
95.
Yeah.
Obviously, that must have been the climax of your career. I know you've been ploughing. And speaking of ploughing, you took over this famous Trojan plough, which was made famous by another Balnagree man, namely
Jerry Horrigan. Yeah, it's ploughed here in 41 and it's ploughing here again today.
That's right. So
yeah. What about the next county, you know?
Well, so that plough must be over 70 years or more at this stage.
It is, yeah. It's ploughing away well today, as you can see.
And that plough has brought you a lot of luck down through the years.
It's second last year down All-Ireland again. It has. I've won a good share of matches with, in fairness now.
Well, JJ, we hope that maybe 2004 we'll see your name imprinted on a national trophy above in Calder in the near future. We wish you the best of luck, JJ.
Well, some side of the paper anyway.
Thank you, JJ.
Right.